Good morning, peeps. Welcome to another vlog. We just got to the job site right now, and it is a juicy one because there's some really awful pipe work that's underneath this kitchen drain, and we are here to replace it all. So we're gonna go into the back of the truck right now. We're gonna get all the materials we need. I'm gonna take you in there, explain to you what's wrong with the original assembly and how we plan to move on with the next one. Let's go do some delicious plumbing. Alrighty, so I want to show you what exactly is going on down here. A lot of interesting pipe work. Let's talk about the issues with it. So, if we take a look down here, we've got a very intricate system of 90s and long tail pieces, more 90s. We got a P-trap that hits a TY. And then right here, we have a connection that could have been good for a clean out, but no clean out there. And then we have a contraption up here. And this right here has been capped. And I'm under the impression that this used to be the vent for this entire system. So the first thing that I did was I filled up the sinks and I drained them to see how well they drain. And they drain really well. So I'm under the impression that that cap that went to that vent over there, the vent has been reinstalled underneath somewhere down below, and it's going up to open air because it ended up draining really well. There was really good suction. You can really hear it. So I'm comfortable with the whole vent idea, but what I'm not comfortable with is all these 90s and all these drops that we're dealing with. So we have two drops here. We got one big guy here, hits another 90, long tailpiece. The tailpiece I'm not too worried about, but a second drop as well. What we are going to do is clean this all up. So we're going to have two tail pieces. One's going to go into a TY. We're going to have one drop into this guy right here, which is going to be a P-trap, and then into an additional TY. And I'm actually going to put the TY with a clean out on top, because by code here in Ontario, you need a clean out in order to clean the drain. You can turn on the water and also snake at the same time. That's the one benefit to having a clean out on a kitchen drain, and that's why it's code here. So one thing I also got to show you is I got to put a dishwasher connection here. They put this in with a TY. This isn't a fitting I would use for a dishwasher connection, and what I mean by that is I would actually prefer a Y connection rather than a TY, because even though the TY does kind of persuade the water to go in a certain direction, it's not as strong as a Y connection, as a Y fitting would. So that's why I'm going to switch it out with a Y. That is the game plan. Let's go do some delicious plumbing. Now that the basket strainer is put in, we are officially ready to start construction of our pipes. The reason why I didn't replace both basket strainers in this video is because Dad replaced the other one in a recent call, to which he told the homeowner that she probably should start thinking of repiping this drain. Now, because of all its bends and turns, she had some issues with clogging in the past, so we let her know a more direct design could help in that situation. I start off by creating what is required on both tail pieces, so I use a fitting trap adapter and I glue it into a TY 45 for the left tailpiece, and I use a regular trap adapter, short nipple, and a 90 on the other tailpiece. I decided to put my dishwasher Y vertically rather than horizontally, and I did this based on the position of the dishwasher. It's on our left-hand side, and thus the dishwasher hose is on the left as well. So by putting it vertically, I avoid any awkward hose connections that might happen if the dishwasher Y is horizontally. If the dishwasher hose and the dishwasher was on the right-hand side, I most likely would have decided to put the dishwasher Y horizontally because it would have been smoother for a connection. Make you change. When designing drains used to stress me out, and in theory it wasn't too long ago that I actually felt like this. But what you'll notice is this design I'm using is a constant when you install 2 compartment sinks. Each time you might have a different slight variation. You might put the dishwasher Y horizontally rather than vertically, for example, but you'll almost always use this design as a template for success. And after you do it enough times, your mind doesn't use as much fuel to design the drain anymore because you understand the foundation and it's settled in your head. So what I urge you to do is take a look at the drain and how I design it here, and try to use it as a template for yourself if you find it a little bit difficult to design drains. It should prove useful and make your life easier in the future. Alrighty, I just want to show you where I'm at right now, because there's a concept I'm about to do, which is a small piece that's prefabricated and dry fitted. That way I can find out the dimensions of everything else subsequent to this fitting right here. So I'm installing the P-trap right now, but this isn't glued, and when I put it in, it's not going to be glued either. I just need to find out the length of pipe that I need for the TY I'm about to put in. I'm going to show you how I do that. So it's going to go into the Y fitting. The Y fitting is already glued though, that's what you should know. Everything up here is connected and glued correctly. So I'm going to push this in as far as I can. The reason why I'm doing this and pushing it in as far in as I can is because in order to get the correct dimension that I'm aiming for, when I glue this, it's going to go all the way in. I need to make it as close to all the way in as possible because that's how I get the most accurate dimension. So now I'm connecting to this coupling right here. I need to know the height of the TY that's going to connect in right here. Let me switch to the GoPro so you can see this. Okay. GoPro on. Here's my TY, and this is a cleanout that's going to be on the vertical portion of it. Here's one more thing we need to remember. Inside the fitting, you have to fit it all the way inside the fitting, and to go all the way inside the fitting, it's approximately 3/4 inch inside. I'm going to measure to the top of the fitting down there, and then what we're going to do is add 3/4 to that. Here we go. So, if I come in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 2 faces flush with one another. Now that they're flush, I know for a fact they're in the right position. In theory, I want a little bit of slope on this, but the length is so small, it's going to be very minimal, if not any at all. So, I'm going to go flush to the fitting, just like so. And then from this fitting down here, the coupling, I'm going to get my measurement. Measurement from lip to lip is around 7 3/8, if you could see that right here. Measurement lip to lip is 7 3/8. So now that we measured from this lip to this lip, we need to add 3/4 for this fitting and 3/4 for this fitting. So 7 3/8 plus 1.5 inches. And we can do this alternatively, okay? We could go from inside one fitting, for example, all the way up to the second fitting, which is going to be approximately almost 9 inches dead on. So it's 7 3/8 plus 1.5 inches, which is 1 4/8. It's going to give us 8 7/8 altogether, approximately 9 inches. I'm going to cut it at 8 7/8. That's the game plan. Let's do it. So we did our first cut. Let me show you what we have here. This is dry fitted. It is not glued at the bottom, nor is it glued on the top. But one thing I want to show you is we got a lot of play. This pipe moves up and down pretty easily. So we're going to be able to make this dimension work regardless right now. So now that we're here, we can actually find the dimension of this pipe right here, which is exactly what we're aiming to do. Without being able to prefabricate this piece, it's a little hard to find the dimension of this. So now we're in a perfect position to do so. Grab your tape measure, go from the inside of the fitting to the inside of the fitting, just like this. You see, we're looking at approximately, so it's approximately 2 3/4 inches. Let's cut that piece now. We're in the final phase. I ended up gluing both sides of the TY over there and also the clean out that's at the top of the TY. Let me show you where we're at. I glued this section in. I glued this section in, this section, and this section. The only thing that's not glued is the inlet of the trap and also the outlet of the trap. This can be completely dislodged. Show you. See? Completely dry in both of them. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to glue this short little nipple into the trap, and then I'm going to either do both connections and glue them at the same time, or I'll do them one by one. Let's just start with the short nipple first, okay? I'm gonna glue this section and this section one time. Let's go. So let me show you where we're at. Brand new basket strainer, hits a 90, follows the pipe across, picks up a TY. This is a fitting trap adapter. This one is a regular trap adapter. That's why you had to put a nipple in there. This fitting one goes straight into the fitting. As you come down, we go directly into a dishwasher Y. I got to cut that open and connect the dishwasher connection over there. Runs into a P-trap, hits the TY, got to clean out down, hits a coupling over there, and we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the dishwasher, and then we're going to go into a testing phase. And just like that, we are done a whole day of plumbing. There's one last thing I want to describe about this drain that I don't feel like I adequately expressed. Here's the problem, okay? There's a lot of fittings involved in this. You got one fitting here, you got a 90, you got an additional 90, you got a third 90, you got a TY, this is a 45, hits another TY, gets to another 90 before it even gets to the trap down below. The problem with having so many fittings is that the theory goes that every time you hit a 90 or a 45, you're actually adding resistance to the flow of water. In other words, every time you hit a 90, it's actually going slower and slower and slower, which is why whenever we install P-traps, for example, you're allowed a certain amount of turn before you get to your vent. So for example, a kitchen sink is allowed a maximum of 135 degrees of turn before it gets to its protective vent. So that means you got a 90 and a 45. Those are the maximum amount of fittings you're allowed to have. You can recreate 135 degrees in different ways. You're allowed to put 3 45s, for example, but you're not allowed to exceed that until you get to your vent. And what'll happen is food will start to build up in this area instead of building up into the trap itself. What you got to remember, the P-trap is designed to be able to stop sewage gas from coming into the house, but P-traps a lot of times, especially union traps, are designed as well to slow down flow in order to catch certain debris. They're actually designed to collect whatever it is in the P-trap before it goes out into the sewer. The city wants you to be cleaning out all your pipes, rather than the city have to take on that burden themselves financially. So that's why when you lose a ring down a sink, you're hoping and praying that the water was slowed down enough that it got caught in the P-trap below. That's what the P-trap's there for. That's why it's a union P-trap. So you can take it out, you can dump it out, and then you can put it back in. So you can clean it yourself and hopefully catch things in there that the city doesn't have to rectify for you. Now here's one thing that I gotta say. We gotta be fair to our plumbers. And what that means is we have to remember that we don't know where everybody is in their journey. I don't know if this was done just by a handy person and where they're at in regards to doing plumbing. Maybe they never touched plumbing after that again or whatnot. But what we have to remember is let's not bring shame to the table. Let's just say, look, it's not the best work out there. Let's bring the standard up and expect a better competency at that. So at least we understand why we're not happy with this many fitting. Also, this is an expensive drain. Each and every fitting costs money, right? Like the drain itself is expensive because of every single fitting that you're adding in there. So when you start doing this professionally, you're aiming to make it by code, but the least amount of fittings as possible, and also the best possible opportunity for the drainage. That's the whole point of the game. That's what professional plumbers are paid to do. We wouldn't have spent this much money on fitting because hopefully we know how to design it so that there's the least amount of fittings as possible. If you're doing drains like this, I don't want to discourage you. I'm just trying to tell you, look, there's a better way to do it. More money in your pocket, more money in the customer's pocket if you do it that way. Take a look at the combination of fittings that I used here and how I did it, and try to assemble a drain that way. That way everybody wins in the long run with good plumbers out there. Peeps, thanks for watching. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below and that bell notification so you know exactly when we're getting videos. Smash that thumbs up button. Share with friends if you know any friends that are interested in plumbing. And I'll see you plumbers very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.